Welcome to ACT and SAT testing, paving the road to college and beyond. My name is April Simons. I'm the College and Career Specialist from Zephyrhills High School, and today I'll be sharing with you all you need to know for you and your student to understand ACT and SAT testing. You may be wondering, what exactly are the ACT and SAT? The SAT is the Scholastic Assessment Test, and the ACT is the American College Test. These are college entrance exams required by most institutions of higher education for application and acceptance, and they serve an important purpose. They help admissions offices assess your college readiness and academic skill. Scoring well on these tests can also help land you merit-based scholarships. There are many uses of the ACT and SAT tests. Most commonly, they are used for college entrance and acceptance. They can also be used for scholarship qualifications. And in the state of Florida, we use these tests as concordance scores to meet graduation requirements. ACT versus SAT. Now we're going to explore some of the similarities and differences of these two tests. So what's the same? On both tests, there are no penalties for guessing on questions. So that means fill in every question. Do not leave any questions blank because you're only increasing your chances of earning points by answering every question. Both tests also have curriculum-focused content. That means what's on the test is what you should be learning in your classes. Also, both are score choice optional. That means you can choose which test dates and which scores get sent to the colleges of your choice. Also, both have an optional essay that you can add to the multiple choice test. Now, let's explore the difference between ACT and SAT. As you can see from the graphic on your screen, ACT has a top score of 36 points, where the SAT has a top score of 1,600 points. These two tests have very different scoring scales. You can also see that both have a math section. ACT has no formulas given, and a calculator can be used for all sections. There are also no grid-in answers for the ACT. The SAT math section has lots of formulas that are given to you. A calculator can only be used for one portion of the math section, and there are grid-in answers on this test. The ACT has a reading section and a separate English and writing section. The SAT has a combined reading and writing section. This is referred to as the evidence-based reading and writing. ACT has a separate science section. This mostly concentrates on interpretation of data, graphs, and charts. The SAT does not have a science section. Here you will see a score report for the ACT test. The score report will provide you with a composite score and a score for each section of the test. You will also be provided with a STEM score and an ELA score. The composite score is the average of the four main sections of the test: math, science, English, and reading. If you take a look at the score report, you'll see the small purple lines that are listed under each section. These purple lines are the college readiness benchmarks. If your scores fall below these benchmark lines, this shows you your opportunity for growth in each of these areas. The composite score is the score that colleges, universities, and scholarship organizations are interested in when considering you for entrance or scholarship qualifications. Here is an example of an SAT score report. This score report will provide you with your total score and section scores for both the evidence-based reading and writing section and the math section. The total score can add up to 1,600 points, where each section score will be up to 800 points. Both the green and the yellow circles indicate whether you have met the benchmark or your score is below the benchmark. Other test scores included in this report are sub-scores for both reading, writing and language, and math. I had mentioned earlier in the presentation that the ACT and SAT tests can be used to meet concordance scores for graduation requirements. The scores required to meet the math requirement for the Algebra 1 EOC test is a 16 on the ACT or a 420 on the SAT. For the reading requirement for graduation would be to meet a concordance score for the Grade 10 FSA ELA test. The ACT would require a reading score of 19, where the SAT would require a reading score of a 430. What is superscoring? Superscoring is the process by which colleges consider your highest section scores across all the dates you took the ACT or SAT. Rather than confining your scores to one particular date, these schools will take your highest section scores, forming the highest possible composite score. Here's an example of superscoring the SAT. As you can see, this student took the SAT in June, August, and October. Their reading score was highest in the October test. The math score was highest in the August test. If we combine these two individual scores, we will get a super score of 1410, which is then a higher score than each individual test. This is called superscoring. Here is an example of superscoring the ACT test. John took the ACT in both September and December and received a composite score of 25 each time he took the test. However, he had different individual section scores each time he took the test. If we take the highest of the section scores from each test date and combine them, we will then receive our composite superscore, which would equal to a 26. This is how you superscore an ACT test. I'm asked quite often by parents and students how to best prepare for the ACT and SAT tests. My best advice is to become knowledgeable about the tests. Learn about the test timing, its different sections, and the scoring for each test. Also, you may want to invest in study guides as pictured on the screen. There are full-length practice tests available both in paper and online. There are also many online resources to help you prepare for these tests. My biggest piece of advice: practice, practice, practice. Shown here are examples of free study guides you can receive from your school. These paperback study guides are usually available from either your college and career specialist or your school counselor. There are many online resources to help you prepare for the ACT or SAT. The most reliable resources come straight from the source. On the ACT website, you will find free ACT test prep. On the SAT website, you will find official SAT practice through Khan Academy. Please go to these websites and explore all the resources available to you. You now know what the ACT and SAT are and how to prepare for them, but when should students start testing and how much does it cost? Students should start taking the ACT and SAT after completion of their 10th grade year. I would highly recommend that your completed 10th grader start testing in the summer before their 11th grade year. The ACT costs $55, while the SAT is currently at $52. There are fee waivers available for students who qualify for free or reduced lunch through the Pasco County District Schools. SAT provides fee waivers for 2 different tests. ACT provides fee waivers for 4 separate tests. Also, if you use a fee waiver to test, you can also apply to college for free when it's time. The ACT and SAT are not one and done tests. These are tests that you're going to take 2, if not 3, possibly 4 times. I always encourage students to take one of each test before they decide which one is right for them. Most students perform better on one or the other. Once you see which one you have performed better on, then I would encourage you to take that test a second, if not third time, to achieve your highest scores possible. The ACT and SAT tests are in high demand. Remember to register early to reserve your spot. Registration for each test can be completed at their respective websites. Registration will take approximately 45 minutes and can be completed online only. Thank you for watching and good luck with your testing.